It's 30 clubs, 30 camps. We're coming to you from Jupiter, Florida. We're with the St. Louis Cardinals. Alongside Cliff Floyd, I'm Robert Flores. Cliff, for decades, the St. Louis Cardinals have been one of the cornerstone franchises of Major League Baseball. Yeah. This year, however you want to call it, a rebuild, a reimagining, they are going in a different direction. There are a lot of new faces here, and you've been here before.
I really have, and I think the one thing you're trying to do is, allow these guys to come to camp, get comfortable, but know there's air and opportunity. There's chances to make a big league squad and bond and come together. And while you're rebuilding, you're resetting, but you're understanding that you have to win at this level. So when you look at the minor league system, it's drastically gotten better.
Yes, it has.
With the trades and so on and so forth. They've done this all season. It's put themselves in a position where this rebuild doesn't have to last for 5 years. It can be shortened by the fact that you have the talent to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have a lot of exciting young players, and that includes the shortstop, Masyn Winn. Check this out. Most outs above average for any player at any position. And Masyn Winn is right in the middle of this. Look at the company he's keeping. Bobby Witt Jr., PCA, Key Brian Hayes, all notable defensive players. Earlier, we had a chance to talk with the Cardinals shortstop. Masyn, this has to be a little bit of a new experience for you because there's so many new faces that you, having spent relatively a lot of time compared to others in the big leagues, is a bit of a change for you in that you're looked at as part of the leadership group, I would think, in this club.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I feel like kind of everybody's been saying that, and I've kind of been, going to the opposite side of the spectrum. It honestly feels like we're all rookies out here trying to earn a spot. So that's kind of how I'm going into it. I want to stay competitive, and obviously my spot's pretty much locked down, but I want to go out there every day, kind of show these quote-unquote younger guys kind of how to work and how to be a professional. From, I learned from Nato, Willie, Wayno, Goldie. I had a lot of good vets, so I'm going to do my best to do what I can for these younger guys that are just not coming up.
How important is that for you, to be a good vet, quote-unquote?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, I feel like we had a lot of good ones coming up. Miles as well, forgot his name, but I mean, it just keeps it loose. It's a little bit different, veteran this year. We got Newbar as our veteran position guy.
Yeah.
It's a little different perspective. We don't have the guys that had 10+ years. So I think it's pretty good for us right now, keeping it light. everybody's roughly the same age, so we kind of somewhat likable, hobbies, and we're doing stuff together. So it's been good trying to just get these guys comfortable. They're not really walking on eggshells, so that's the biggest thing for us.
That knee problem last year, you had surgery, you got yourself back right. How big was it for you to have a normal off season so you could get to camp and do the things that you normally do?
No, it was huge. We shut it down a little early last year, got surgery right away, and went straight into rehab. Got that pretty knocked out pretty quick. And, I was down here working out at Cressy. There was a few of us down here working on some stuff. So to be able to, get back right and feel healthy again, it's been a long time since I felt good. So to get back to that was really good for me.
You mentioned a swing change. Give us some insight in some of the details that went behind that decision.
Yeah, last year I was real narrow. The year before I had some success with it, and last year I tried it as well. It worked for a long time, and then the knee issues came along and kind of had to do some tweaks. But coming into this year, now that I'm healthy and can stay on my backside a little bit better, we widened the stance a little bit, got more in the hip, and I'm pretty excited. It feels comfortable right now, but yeah, definitely a little bit wider base, just a little bit more stable.
We'll get you out of here on this one. You mentioned there's a lot of new faces here, young faces. J.J. Weatherholt, a potential double play partner for yourself. What have you seen from him?
I've seen a lot of great things. Obviously I know what he can do with the bat. Defensively, he's only going to get better. He's just going to slow the game down. But the dude is an uber athlete. Dude can do pretty much everything on the field, and it's pretty exciting. He shows up to the park every day to work. He was actually working out with me this offseason at Cressy, and the dude's work ethic is unmatched. The dude's drive is unmatched. He wants to be here every day. It's going to be a lot of fun turning double plays with him.
Well, Masyn, we appreciate the time. Stay healthy, and best of luck to you and the Cardinals in 2026.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
you got it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Here's the projected lineup for the Cardinals in 2026. Lars Nootbaar is recovering from heel surgery. They're hopeful he'll be ready to go by opening day. J.J. Weatherholt is their top prospect, figures to slot in at second base. And at first base, Alec Burleson, who takes over for Wilson Contreras. Alec, the camp, I'm sure, has a different vibe because there's a lot of new faces here. We were just joking. You're only 27 years old, but you're viewed as the elder statesman, right, in this group?
Yeah, it's weird. It's being 27 years old, like you said, and people asking me questions about certain things. But yeah, it's something that I have to embrace. I have to kind of step into that role and be, not just lead by example on the field, but also be a vocal leader as well. So stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit, but it's something that, like I said, I got to embrace, and somebody's got to do it, so why not?
Well, you had some good people to learn from that were here, that are no longer here. What did you learn from those type folks?
Yeah, you talk about Paul Goldschmidt, who was here, and Wilson, who was at first base. Those two guys stick out just because they were first base. I backed them up a little bit, and Goldie did it how he played. He got his work in. He was very diligent with that stuff, and learned a lot from him just at first base and how he went about his day and what it looks like to be an everyday big leaguer. And then Wilson, loved that guy to death, and he played with fire and learned a lot from him as well. So, and then you've got other guys that I didn't mention, but been around a lot of veteran leaders, and took a lot from them. So looking to pass that on. You mentioned you're taking a leadership role in the clubhouse. What about your role on the field? What's your mindset there? Yeah, it's more first base for sure. Mm-hmm. Not to say I'm not ready for the outfield if that's got to happen, but definitely 99% of my time's at first base, and looking forward to having that opportunity to be the everyday guy there. And then obviously at the plate, just trying to continue to do what I do, solidify some things in the swing so that the slumps are shorter, and because everybody's going to do it through 162, so try and shorten those, and just do what I do at the plate. So it's been good so far, and looking forward to start the season. Last one, with all these new faces and all these moving parts, it seems like this camp is one about opportunity. Yes. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you look at some of the young guys and the prospects that we have in camp, and a lot of them are playing really well right now, and a lot of them have a chance to be with us and contribute to a lot of wins in St. Louis. So, obviously they're going to play the game the way they play the game, but there's certain things that they have to do as big leaguers that will take them to that next step. So try to pass that on, like we talked about earlier. But yeah, it's a super exciting group. I think the motto here has been just play how you play, have fun, and see where it shakes out at the end. So a lot of fun to be on the infield with these guys, and looking forward to them being in St. Louis. Well, we appreciate the time. Good luck to you. Yeah, no doubt. Thank you. We asked you on social media, who's going to lead the Cardinals in home runs this year? Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman, Ivan Herrera, or other? Cliff, you want to weigh in?
You know what? Ivan Herrera had a breakout season as far as homers, so I was leaning towards him, but I think I'm going to go with Burleson. Okay. I think Burleson is that guy. All right. We'll get your answers a little bit later.
30 clubs, 30 camps. We're in Jupiter, Florida with the St. Louis Cardinals. The options at rotation for the Cardinals in 2026. Matthew Liberatore is at the top of this rotation. Dustin May signs a deal with them in the offseason, and Michael McGreevy is back after getting a taste of the big leagues in 2025. Here with Cardinals pitcher Mike McGreevy, I heard you say right before spring training and pitchers and catchers reporting that ending the season with the big league club, it's a certain expectation that you go into the offseason. What was that expectation for you? How was your mindset going into the offseason?
Well, the expectation was that after that 30-second game I pitched at Wrigley, my body was just exhausted. And it was a huge wake-up call in a good way, and in also a, hey, you don't have the 6-day normal easy minor league schedule with that certified off day Monday. The 5-day rotation in the big leagues is a grind, and I want to get my body in the right spot to where I can handle all 32 games in the regular season and then hopefully pitch in October.
You know what that's like, Cliff? It's a long season, right?
It's a long season. But you know what? When you actually work out in the off season and you get yourself right, to come to spring training and have the facility look the way it is and how it is, just talk about this a little bit and how it's helping you guys.
Oh, it's been absolutely awesome. From where we were last year, and always the talks of, we're going to upgrade the facility, and maybe it happens in 24, City didn't approve it, or maybe 25, but to come back and have all these great amenities here in the new upgraded Cardinal spring training, it just helps so much, and it's great having both the minor league side and the big league side together as one.
There's a lot of faces that aren't here any longer. It seems like this is a camp of really opportunity. What is that? What's the vibe like among the entire group here?
I would just say nice and chill. Everybody's super young. I think we're one of the youngest teams in baseball right now. We have to be. Yeah. And it's great. Everybody knows one another. No one's walking on eggshells. like you would in maybe a normal spring training with certified Hall of Famers on their last few years. Right. But to have so many young guys kind of all in the same stages of our careers, whether you're under a year, just about to go into ARB, everybody is in that same stage where you think you're going to make the team, but there's still healthy competition to want to prove yourself and make the club.
Final one from me. What is the focus now that you're here at camp, now that you're getting ready to throw, as we tape here, you're going to be throwing tomorrow? What's the focus right now?
Taking everything one step at a time. Not trying to make the team that first day. It's a slow ramp up. The first couple big league camps I went to, I came in hot. My first live BP in 23 was 94, 96, and then I feel like I crashed and burned in June and July, and then had to kind of re-get my legs under me. And this year it's like, while the off season is also a ramp up, so is spring. Opening day is what you ramp up for, and that's why we have spring training, and that's why all these guys are trying to go at 100%, but we want them at 100% come opening day.
Do you write goals down? Because I used to write some goals down, especially when we was in a type of rebuild young team with the Marlins back in '98 when we had guys leave.
Yeah, no, I'm not the player where I'm like, I'm going to write down all these stats and hopefully I get to them. Yeah. The only stat I can think as a starting pitcher is I'd like to get to 200 innings one day, make every start, and I think if I make every start, I have a very good chance of doing that. The game's changing in a way that that 200 inning starter isn't as prominent as it once was, but there's still guys that do it, and so I want to be one of those guys. But especially with the young camp right now, I think the goal is to create a good foundation this year and the next, so that in only like 3 years, maybe the Cardinals are back where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the time. Best of luck to you and the Cardinals in 2026.
Good luck, my man. Appreciate it.
Manager interviews are presented by Sage, the official finance software partner of Major League Baseball.
Welcome back. 30 clubs, 30 camps. We're with the St. Louis Cardinals. Here are the top prospects according to MLB.com for the St. Louis Cardinals organization. They have 4 players in the MLB top 100 overall, led by, of course, infielder J.J. Weatherholt, figures to make an impact for the Cardinals in 2026. And at 91 overall, recently acquired Jurangelo St. a switch pitcher, but the Cardinals think they're going to use him more as a right-handed pitcher.
We're here with starting pitcher for the Cardinals, Matthew Liberatore. And I guess when you think about this camp, some new faces, like a reset, how do you sort of go about spring and allow yourself to sort of just work into a good rhythm?
Yeah, I think a lot of this spring has been getting to know all the new faces around here, all the young guys, and really building some culture within the clubhouse and just taking the time to sit down and eat with guys and meet different people and really get to understand what makes guys tick and what makes them go.
Does this new facility here help with that whole process?
Yeah, this new facility is unbelievable. We have every amenity you could ask for, and I really feel like we have a good setup for guys to come in here and actually get better.
So I've been looking at some of the projections and so on and so forth. You might be the starting opening day pitcher. How's that sound?
That would be super cool. It's not completely in my control, so right now I'm just trying to focus on today, and tomorrow I'll worry about tomorrow. But I think every pitcher growing up dreams of throwing the first pitch of the season for their team.
Yeah. So when you go into camp, there's always something we work on to better ourselves and tweak. What's the one thing you're working on this spring to get better?
Working on adding a 7th pitch right now.
7?
Yeah.
So no eliminating, you're adding?
Yeah, we're adding.
Okay.
Been throwing a splitter.
Okay.
Some of them have been really good. Some of them have been really bad. It made its game debut yesterday in my start. Got one swing and miss on it through a couple uncompetitive ones, but the nice thing about it is, I do have 6 other pitches, so it's not mandatory that I do have this. It's more of a want-to thing, and I think that's made it easy to go out and be free and just tinker with it and see how it performs.
So when do you, as for us, we're about perfection, right? So when do you, in your mind, go, okay, this is game ready, and if I need be, I'm going to it?
I think I'd like to see consistent shape and then my ability to execute the pitch at a relatively high rate for me to feel really good about throwing it in regular season games. Like I said before, it's the 7th pitch, so the nice thing about it is I can keep tinkering with it throughout the season, and if at some point it really does click for me, it could become a weapon.
We know your stuff is there. We always talk about consistency. I think it's used too loosely because I think it's hard to do in our sport. Very hard to play this game. How do you look at this team and evaluate where you guys are as far as this reset?
I mean, I think we're in a really good spot right now. I think we have a good young core that have been around some of the older veterans and Hall of Fame players that have been here and understand how things run. And then we got a bunch of young guys who are really hungry to compete right now and really open to learning and having conversations. So I think we're in a really good spot right now, and there's a lot of good young energy around. So it's exciting for sure.
Well, go out and have a great year.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you.
Sounds good.
Manager interview is presented by Sage. We're here with Cardinal skipper Oli Marmol, about to enter his 5th season as Cardinal skipper. Where did the time go?
You ain't kidding, man. It's happened quick, but I'm having a blast doing it.
When you look at this team, obviously, when you trade away the players that you guys did and the resumes that they have, this camp is about fresh faces, but also opportunity, right?
It's definitely opportunity, and that's probably where all the enthusiasm is stemming from. When you're in our clubhouse right now, man, these guys are pumped because they're all in the same boat. Like, everyone's in the same spot in their career. They understand they're going to play together for a while, and there's real enthusiasm behind that of coming together as a clubhouse, man, being connected and being able to face adversity together. So the conversations in that clubhouse have been incredible, I think, large part because of that.
How do you balance, and I've dealt with a rebuild in my career. I was always wondering, how do you balance winning and teaching?
Yes.
And patience?
No doubt. I think
at the big league level.
Yeah, right. And try to win games.
The combination of what you just said, man, you don't lower the standard. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to walk into this building every day wanting to win. And the staff is going to push each other, push the players to make sure that we uphold that. But you do have to have patience in certain areas. You are going to, at times, value the long term over the short term. You're going to make decisions that reflect that. But at the same time, man, if you lower the standard just because you're given opportunity, I think you're making a big mistake. Mm-hmm. So I think the mentality and overall culture has to be where you're coming in every day wanting to win, expecting to win.
Yeah.
Externally, reading things about J.J. Weatherholt,
no doubt,
and hearing all the fans and the excitement. They know all about the rankings. They know these kids as they're coming up. Internally, what are the expectations for him, especially early in this season?
There's a reason to be excited. This kid, he has a real skill set, and what's most impressive is his mentality. This is a guy that came into camp last year and was kind of playing with house money. Mm-hmm. Went about it extremely well, carried himself like a pro, and came back, had a really good offseason. When you see him walking around, we see him on the field taking ground balls, hitting BP in the game, whether he's made a couple errors, but like just the mentality and how he handles everything, you wouldn't think he's as young as he is. So I'm more impressed about how he goes about his business, how he responds to some of the things that have come his way. It's been really good.
In spring, you always have these different configurations with the lineups and so on and so forth. And when you look at manufacturing runs or however you go about it, do you look at speed at the top with the boys you have?
It's a great question, and it's something I think we should definitely toy around with. When you look at a combination of a Masyn or a Vic, right? They fit into that bucket of speed guys that can set the table, take a bag if they get on. And this is where we're going to have to weigh a little bit of opportunity and effectiveness. Like, those guys are continuing to work on their ability to get on base when they don't get a hit. Like, seeing pitches, walking more. And if you can have the right combo, man, those are really good options to potentially have at the top.
Final one from me. We talked with Matthew earlier. He seemed to find his way at times last season. Where is he right now, and what are your expectations for him, figuring that he's going to be at the top of the rotation?
Doing exactly that. This is a guy we gave an opportunity to be in the rotation last year. And you talk about running with an opportunity. He did exactly that, man. Like, he was phenomenal, and he had his ups and downs, but handled those really well. He had an incredibly good offseason. Very intentional with everything, and he's coming into this camp ready to take that spot.
And then I've been asking everybody about this new facility you got here.
When you
boys enjoying it, huh?
Are you kidding me? Especially the people that have been here a while. Like, you come into this place and it's unreal. Like, the performance center is unbelievable. The cafeteria, you just have access to a lot of the things that, the past years, truthfully, we just didn't have. So I know the staff is excited, the players are pumped, and it allows for a lot more. No doubt.
We had to get Cliff out of the hyperbaric chamber. I was like, Cliff, that's for Cardinal personnel only.
You know what? Hey, I'm explaining.
Did you jump in it?
And no, not yet. But I was over there looking at it. You know how you scout the team?
Before you leave, I'm going to get you in that thing.
Okay.
Well, Oli, we appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the fellows in 2026. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We asked you earlier, who's going to lead the Cardinals in home runs this year? 31% of you that voted said Alec Burleson will lead the Cardinals in homers in 2026. Last year, Burleson had 18 home runs. All right, a couple things before we wrap things up here at Cardinals camp. Kyle Leahy, Ollie Marmol says, is a guy that could figure somewhere in this rotation, and it could be closer by committee until someone seizes control for that job. But, Cliff, in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of teaching and learning at the big league level here.
Yeah, and also patience, right? You have to allow these guys to get their feet up under them, understand that it is about winning up here, but also allow them to go through the trials and tribulations of the big league season. But I think they have the guys in place that have been here before, the Masyn Winns, the Victor Scotts. All these guys have gone down this road of understanding what it is to be a big leaguer from the past veterans who had just left. So I think it allows Ollie to not have to police as much,
right,
and allow him to go out there and be, under control and play to win.
That's going to do it here from Cardinals camp. For Cliff Floyd, for our amazing team behind the camera and behind the scenes, I'm Robert Flores. Thanks for watching.